You bring the skimmer into the dock? Your dock?
Okay.
Well, on the outside, yeah, it's always terrible.
Nick measured it out. Spades. Yeah, geez. 4 to 5.
If it's 3.
I am ready. Give Jay a half a second.
It's almost.
All right, good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, May 1st, 2025. I'll call this meeting of the Board of Harbor Commissioners for the town of La Pointe to order. With us this evening, we have Mary Ross,
Present.
Susan Whitmore,
Here.
Michael Collins,
Here.
Evan Erickson,
Here.
myself, Jay Wiltz,
Present.
and via Zoom, we have Glenn Carlson. Staff present, we have Lauren Berteau and Katie Kisner. Public present, we've got Paul Brummer, Charlie Brummer, John Carlson, Evan Erickson. First up on the agenda is public comment. There's no public comment. We'll move on to Chief Administrative Officer report. I don't see.
Yes.
Right behind.
Can you guys hear me all right?
My pages, my pages are stuck together. I got it.
Okay. So the current balances of the Harbor Commission bank accounts, this was as of Tuesday, the 29th. The Miffle utility checking account was at $673,958.42. The April revenue as of Tuesday was just under 134,000, which is, as you can see, definitely over what was budgeted for the income for the month. It was at 123%. I will say starting in May is when we have in our cash flow actually accounting for that tariff increase. Not sure if the Harbor Commission at a future meeting would like to revisit like updating the budget or just kind of a revision on that and placing in what we now are expecting or hoping for with the revenue with the tariff increase. But we essentially in our cash flow, we do have that starting in May.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
So the budget was based on 2024.
It was based on 2024 numbers, and I think with a slight increase,
But it was more.
and the
Turned out to be.
and we increased tariffs
Yeah.
to meet the budget plus the added money needed for capital expenditures that we didn't have included in the budget at the time.
The rates were changed after the budget was created, which would increase the revenue. So
Got it. Yep. No, I am. Okay. Thank you.
Katie, in order to come up with the correct revenue numbers from May to December, could Miffle get us the traffic numbers of that from last year, and then we can use the spreadsheet to come up with what every month the revenue should be?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you cut out there. What numbers are you requesting from Miffle?
If Miffle could get us ridership numbers from last year, May to December, and then we can use those numbers to add into the new rates to see what our revenue would be and or could be. And if they have it broken down by month, that'd be great. Then we can make the monthly revenue in the budget as accurate as we can.
Okay.
Wouldn't you have had those numbers to do the budget?
We had an overall
Yeah.
for the year, not May through December.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we had like the end of October 2023 through November, the end of November 2024 when we were kind of finalizing
Got
this.
If I could say something, it might, if you can't get that information easily, I would think that we could get kind of a rough justice by just taking the overall percentage that we increased the tariffs by over and above what the budget was and just apply that to each month's future amount. Again, I think what Evan's saying is going to be more precise, but if that is not easily obtainable or, would take too much time, a quick and dirty way would just be using the same percentage.
It should
And-
be attainable though.
Yeah,
What
and
I
that's
did.
essentially what we've done
It's very
with the
easy to
cash flow
think.
estimate that we did. Is we have kind of that overall percentage increase. But yes, to be more accurate, I will request that. And then the only other thing that I have on my report, it was requested for an update on the Island Queen repairs. I did reach out to Cal. He said that Mifflin's timeline to have that repair is obviously before July 4th weekend, looking at late May, early June. They are going to have the architects look at it just to make sure that it doesn't need more than just a repair. He did give me a price range between $5,000 and $40,000, and now that's Cal's estimate. Obviously, if it needs significant modification to the hull or keel structure, then it would be at the higher end of that range. And then everything else that I had is an agenda item. So.
Katie, the Mifflin utility checking account, that includes the 300,000 from the town?
Yes, so the 300,000 loan from the town was transferred last Friday. So
I will
that's, yeah, that 673 does include that.
I will make a motion to put Chief Administrative Officer report on file.
I'll second.
There's no discussion. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, our assistance program project updates.
This is, sheet on your. Al was gonna send to the state.
I like this report. Thanks, Cal.
And I can elaborate with, I've had several meetings even since that report was submitted as well with more kind of accurate, if you'd like.
Yeah, if you want to hit the bullet points, that'd be great.
Sure. Bullet points. The ramp, the steel ramp structure, we're on target for a June 25th delivery. As of right now, they are, they would like to see a payment as soon as possible. They've already got, 30,000 invested in it and they've started work on it. So I believe it'd be great if I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but I'm hoping that after tonight, a payment could be issued to them.
Is that for the actual, that's for Cabs and Rocks?
Correct.
Their check went out in the mail yesterday.
Fantastic. Okay. So that's great news. So that's good. And that's on track. As far as the ramp construction itself, there's one permit that's sort of kind of hanging out as far as the Army Corps of Engineers, whether or not they need to weigh in on it. We'll know that hopefully in the next week. The only permit that we anticipate needing though at the moment is through the city of Bayfield, which they have to do a 2-week notice before having a meeting before signing off on it. So that's kind of the stage we're at with that. Shouldn't be any major issues there. What we're looking at right now, again, for the bulletin point is we would likely we'd break ground at this stage. If everything went really well with the bid and the bidders are able, construction bidders are able to start on, relatively timely manner, we'd probably be like June or July, like 15th is kind of what we're aiming for right now. So we'd get through the 4th and, we'd have all docks operational for the 4th, then, start pretty much right after that weekend. Construction can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks is kind of what we're anticipating at this stage. So that would put us, into August realistically, at this stage for a completion.
During construction, during that busy time, who would be responsible for customer safety? Would Miffle be in charge of that, or would the construction company be held to that? Since there's going to be a lot of machinery moving around right next to the herring shed.
So it's going to be a joint effort. I mean, it's going to have to be. So that's really where, of course, the construction crew is likely not to be strangers to, working around the general public. But yes, we're going to have to put in, measures. One of the plans right off the bat is the front of the herring shed during this construction time. The typical entrance that we would have would not be utilized. We would route traffic through the back, through the emergency door. So we'd have, the backside emergency door is the primary entrance, and then an emergency escape would be, one of the sliding doors that are further east down the dock away from the construction. So it will be an inconvenience to customers to, not go down the same footpath, but the facility will still be open, and they'll be able to get, in and out of the passenger waiting area.
And I think the only outstanding question for me is you were gonna look into invoice from Cooper Engineering?
That's
Is it?
It's in your bills.
All right, never mind then.
Thanks, Cal.
And so that report that you have, we're going to be having one of those every single month until the project is complete. So, and then just as far as reimbursement, since these are out, I'll be working with Lauren, to make sure that we've got proof for the state, and we'll get the first round of reimbursement hopefully submitted next week, is the goal. And what we should be expecting back is 80% minus from memory, it's a 5%. So we should be getting back about 75% of what we paid. The 5% they hold off on throughout the entire project. Once the project is complete, they then distribute that last 5%. So they sort of hold on to that as as a security to finish the project.
We're still looking at a 30-day turnaround, that check.
Yes, so that is what it's anticipated at this point. So we are expecting a 30-day turnaround, with the first one being the longest is what we anticipate. And the person that these reports go to, Michael Halstead, is retiring here shortly. I have a tentative meeting planned to meet him and his replacement here in the coming month, so that we can sort of do a handshake, handoff, just make sure everything is going smoothly. And Halstead will be working with his replacement to make sure they understand what's going on in the project and where we're at.
So just to be clear, so it'll be 75% of the first payment to Cooper Engineering. So 75% of 39,000. Is that?
The cabs and ROPS will be in there also.
Okay.
Those first two.
So that's what 75%.
Oh, and the 100. Okay, I see.
Yep. And then that 5% will get reimbursed once we say the project is complete.
Okay.
Are we gonna, we can't do it on this meeting because it's not an agenda item, but are we gonna have to make a motion and approval before sending this off as a board, or can it just be sent off by Miffle?
I think you mean the report to,
The report for reimbursement to the,
I think Cal is authorized.
Okay.
The reimbursement for the money, when I was doing reimbursements for the airport, COVID relief stuff with the VOA, it was never approved. I just had it in my report that, okay, I had submitted and
Okay.
I didn't receive the monies.
Great. Anything else for Cal? Let's move on then to the review of the Trek and Trail lease.
Does anybody know why it's a potential 10-year lease?
They,
that was a requirement by the bank. when they were purchasing Trek and Trails, the bank wanted assurance that
They
they
would-
had space for 10 years.
And this was kind of negotiated prior to our taking ownership, but I think we signed off on
We
it.
signed off on.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement to,
This is the current lease you have.
oh,
It expires on May 31st
Yeah, the other next one, 13th, this
of
one.
this year.
okay.
The initial term of 1 year, and so what this is saying is we'll need to renew it. And this is just for you to say
Oh.
what you might want changed. And then we'll get a new one drafted and you'll sign, you'll approve the.
So this needs to be updated.
This is just where it stands currently and is expiring the end of this month.
Is there any significant change? What I'm looking at here.
Well, after that base rate rent graph,
Yep,
you just read below. That there's an annual.
yeah.
3%.
Yeah, 3% increase.
So if you guys still agree to those terms. Why?
What is the consumer price?
Well, it looks like in the lease, we agreed to another 10 years, correct?
We have that.
We kind of renegotiated it. Michael Cookta had gotten involved and because we're tax exempt, he included language to do payment in lieu of taxes. So that what they would have paid for taxes under the old lease with Miffle was paid directly to the Harbor Commission.
Yeah, that's on page, the top of page.
Whichever one's higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think those all went to taxes last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't need to approve anything this meeting. We just,
No, we need to get it drawn up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to send to them.
I mean, isn't this always drawn up? It's already drawn up, right? It's a renewal.
yeah,
So it just has to update the years in the, for instance, the bottom of page 1, it should be
and add in the,
25 to October 25, November 25 to April 26.
I mean, I don't think we can just do that ourselves, right? We don't need it.
I think Lauren did this time around. Updated the,
I think I can find the word on.
I mean, it's a renewal, correct? So I mean, I don't think there's any reason to reinvent the lease because we can't. It's just we're renewing.
it'd probably be worth reaching out to Lee Shore Kayaking and have they been provided with a copy? I mean, would they sign it as it is? Do they?
It's just page 2 guys.
Yeah.
Have
it's
they
up
made
to-
any inquiries about,
No,
At least for-
it's the one that sent me a note saying this lease expires.
okay,
So we need to contact them because it's the leasee's choice to renew for 10 more years. So.
Sorry to interject. Aiden did reach out to me after last week, just because he had heard that we had brought up the lease. And he just said, just let them know whatever that they needed to do. I told him I'd reach out to him after this meeting and that it was an agenda item.
They are interested in renewal though.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
what's the name of their company? Is it Trek and Trail?
no,
Lee Shore Kayaking.
Okay, that's the piece, but that's the name of their company too.
Yeah.
The ZBA.
I don't see any changes other than the dates
No,
from my perspective.
dates and updated.
And the
rates.
and the base rent.
Okay. Well, then we'll put it on the agenda for next month to. Our next meeting. Does that make sense?
Sounds
Yep.
good to me. If Lauren can update the language. Anything else there?
When are we meeting again?
To be determined.
Okay,
Later.
but I mean, this technically should be signed by both parties by the end of May.
We've got to, yeah, we've got
I know today's only the first, but
Probably
We
meet,
got,
well. Yeah, we'll meet within 2 weeks.
and get it to, then be able to get it to them.
We don't need the town board for that, do we?
I think it is co-signed. That's a good question, Jay.
I'm not sure that we do.
Okay. Someone can answer that.
You can co-sign, you co-sign. the
No,
first
he
one,
signed
over
it.
chair.
Yeah, he co-signed it.
Yeah, so it probably will take a board approval.
Okay.
Your signature is on this.
I think we made a recommendation for the town to
Yeah.
approve that last time.
Should I make a recommendation to update the lease with
Be sure.
Be Shore kayaking as based on the table of rent increase and tax increase that's outlined
Yes,
in the lease?
yeah. Is that language okay?
For a term of
Yeah,
10 years?
That's already been decided.
yeah, it's for June 1, 25 through May 31st, 2026.
I will second that, with clarification that the motion is for Harbor Commission recommendation to town board for approval.
Sure, but don't we need to make sure they approve it, they accept it too?
Don't.
We can approve it, and if they don't, then
Okay.
it doesn't happen.
Yeah, with to recommend to the town board to approve the lease.
And we have, it's time to update the lesser names.
Yeah, they'll re-sign.
I'll adjust the taxing.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next up, newsletter update.
Have anything on that?
There's nothing there, then let's move on to advertisement for mag cards.
And the last came after I had made your packets of information. There's an email from Cal. That response. That's your last page.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yep. I wasn't sure how that ended up on there.
That's the last page on our deck.
It's the one that clicked in there, yeah.
Yeah.
People like-
Okay.
I think, in terms of advertising Mag Card, I would just suggest maybe on the website under the rates, tab, that somewhere in there, it just says that for frequent users, a discount card is available at the office. And if we put the rates in there, fine. If not, then fine too.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
It does,
Even if you put the rates in there, they're still gonna call the office.
They
and
are.
say, what's the charge?
but at least we can say that, you know, that there's somewhere on the website that says a discount card is available.
And this has never happened.
I don't think it should just.
But I don't think we need to put out a big, I mean, most people who are here already know about the discount.
Yeah, but not everybody.
Not everybody.
The mail, but how much does it cost to get a stuffer into the post office?
It's like 23 cents a
Flyer?
I don't,
I don't think.
No, we wouldn't.
I think we need to do
We
that. Well, that could be a newsletter add in too, whenever.
Mhm.
Well, Facebook.
I think just having it on the website, like Evan suggested, is
Yeah.
the perfect end of it.
Gazette. If the publisher would do it, put it in the Gazette.
Oh, I don't know if you would.
Oh, he might.
You think?
I would not recommend that either. I think it's, as long as it's, as long as somewhere on the website it's listed that it's available, I think that is fair
Sufficient.
and equitable.
So just,
Do we
Yes.
need, do we need,
you need to contact the Miffle and.
Yeah, could,
do we need a motion to recommend?
I think we can just ask if Katie can, work with Miffle and just make sure that that's added to the website.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Anything else there? Let's go to number 9, review package delivery weight limit policy.
I read through this and, I'm fine with, this policy. it doesn't, like I mentioned last meeting, some of these heavier items kind of get caught in limbo between the shipper and being delivered. And I had a package for the town that got caught in this, and I had to convince, I think it was FedEx Freight, that you can deliver it. It's just going to go as freight on the boat. And then Michael Haven drove up to Duluth to pick up one of his packages because it got caught in limbo. But as long as we're accepting them, and if they take a little bit extra time and customers understand that, then I'm fine with that.
That's the
Yeah, I
question
think-
customers need to understand.
Yep. So I think this was just a little bit of a language confusion when we came up with the 75-pound weight limit. It was just to prevent Joe or whoever's handling packages at the package center from having to lift too much weight or to haul too much weight in and out of cars. It wasn't that you couldn't have anything delivered to the island over 75 pounds, just to the package center. So I think we just, maybe somehow the language got confused with 75 pounds there.
Yeah, well, and then the UPS and FedEx got this idea that they
Right.
can't deliver it.
Exactly.
I think it might.
Well,
be
no, something was sent by Miffle to UPS
Oh,
and
right.
FedEx, saying that if you order a dishwasher or a pizza oven,
Don't deliver it.
we're not gonna accept it. Don't bring it to Bayfield because we're not gonna load it into our freight vehicle and bring it over.
And that was never the
Yes, yeah.
intention, just for the package center for, that specific case.
Jump in whenever, Cal.
I just wanted to make sure, yes, that was, there was some like kind of confusion on even internally as to, okay, how do we deal with something over 55, but less than 75? 75 is the standard, they cut it off and it becomes freight, right? So at 75, it shows up on FedEx Freight. It doesn't show up with like FedEx Ground. And so we were having an issue with, packages. Our policy is that one person is only expected to lift up to 50 pounds. So that's really where there was this, don't put a 65-pound package in with everything else, because we can't offload that like everything else. But now again, with this policy, again, as so long as, the Harbor Commission doesn't feel that they need, any additional input on it, I feel that this very clearly and accurately conveys, okay, here's the weight limits, here's the expectations. If you want to send us something that's 300 pounds, we'll figure it out. We have the capability to handle up to about a 800-pound single object, so long as it can go on our forks. So we want to do that. It's just, yes, the big thing is making sure that people understand there will be delays, likely, the heavier it is. And we don't want to put any one employee in a position where they feel, oh, I've got to muscle this out of the back of the truck because, customer is here and they want it. We just want to make sure they understand, it may be sitting there in the truck. It's here, but we're not going to staff 2 people to sit in that building all day just for the one-off, package in that criteria. So I hope this clarifies it, and I hope this again works for everybody's package, because we do want to make sure we're getting everybody everything they need. It is becoming a massively utilized function of the ferry line, is just delivering freight. So
I just came from the freight terminal, and it's loaded, big stack right down the middle. And I agree, this is very clear, concise, spelled out procedure. Do you think this is something that should be on the website? I don't know how to relay it to the customers. That's the outstanding question.
I mean, I think, again, I could work with Leanne on that, and we could probably do a text blast, with a link just saying, hey, go to this, so long as we can keep the text blast short, it's a lot cheaper. But on the website, we're hoping going forward, we're working on this right now, is to have a section of the website for public viewing of policies, so that, you could just go to the website and you could see madferry.com/policies. And they could look at, okay, what's your oversized freight policy? What's the mag card could be in there, right? What's that sort of thing. So we are hoping to have that, and we can direct customers there for those things.
Go ahead, Susan.
I heard last meeting that one of those blast texts is inordinately expensive, but I don't know what the number is. And I don't think we ever talked about it in budget.
And that's a good question. Maybe Katie, you could find the answer to that, what it costs for the average length blast text. And I don't know that this policy warrants texting as long as it's
It's on the
available
website.
somewhere.
I think it'd be a good idea too, to have it at the package center so people can see it.
There you go,
Where
post
they
it.
go to pick
Right.
packages.
And I mean, I can comment on the rate of the text too, if you'd like now, or we can wait till a different meeting, whatever you prefer. And then the big thing is that we want to make sure, you know, and the importance of this is making sure that, you know, that they're seeing this, that they know that, because people have probably made changes. One change that we've noticed that's been very problematic is people are getting things shipped to 20 Washington Ave. And that causes a lot of problems for us because sometimes it doesn't even have a name on it, you know, so we'll have large packages just show up that just say 20 Madeline Island Ferry Line, 20 Washington Ave. So, you know, we do want to make sure that, you know, we are getting this out to not just the residents, but anybody that has, you know, shipping needs on the island, because it is a, you know, a limbo that I'm sure most of you in this room at some point have said, where's the package? You know, and we want to make sure that we're like, hey, if you have an address to the island, you have a name to the island, it will get to the island.
Yeah, in terms of like packages that are addressed to 20 Washington Avenue, I have to do that for the MRF when it comes to Uline. Because they're Dayton Freight, if it's a LaPointe address, they will refuse to deliver it. And so we have a section in our Uline shipping where it's Town of LaPointe in the care of Madeline Island Ferry Line, 20 Washington Avenue, just so that it shows up.
The other issue with that is that so if that freight shows up and it's or anything that shows up FedEx or UPS 220 Washington, there isn't revenue collected on that as far as a FedEx or UPS freight charge, because revenue would only be collected on something that we are delivering the last mile. So that's sort of another issue too, is if it is not shipped to the island, you know, you're not collecting on it.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
So I can recognize that there may be some times where you have to, and I would love to work with those shippers to try and figure out what the hangup might be. You know, and so you know, offline, if there's something I could do to help or investigate, I would love to. But I do want to make sure that, you know, it's addressed to the island, it gets to the island, and then in instances where we're supposed to collect revenue on transporting that via our contracts, that we are.
I'll walk back my comment too. I'll leave it up to your best judgment as to whether you think it warrants a text alert that there's a new shipping policy.
I appreciate that. I'll work with Leanne. I mean, she's going to have a better pulse on how to make sure that everybody's kind of aware of these things. And then again, if you would like, do you want to know about the text blast cost, or should we save that for another meeting?
Not now.
Okay,
You can get it to Katie if you want.
Yeah.
sounds great.
I think just a spot on the website that, I don't know if it's labeled like, are you new to the island, that points out like, how do you get your packages, the freight car, you know, what to expect. Winter time, what do you expect when you have moved here and all of a sudden now you're not living in the cities anymore. And the boats are shutting down. At least there's a spot there that it kind of explains to people, this is what you can expect.
Yeah, we're already working on that. You know,
Perfect.
because I want something for canceled trips. Why do we cancel trips? What are the
Yeah.
factors for canceling trips? What to do when a trip is canceled? You know, it's going to have kind of all of those bulletin points on there, you know, so people understand, you know, okay, it's a northeaster. I don't see any wind on the island dock. Why is the boat not running? Well, in the middle of the channel, it's a little different story, right? So we're hoping to have a very public and forward approach to, you know, information as to, you know, what are we doing, and making it so that the public can access that.
Or it gets posted on the website. Could it be given to Katie, Susan, and Michael?
Of course. Yeah, we can make sure that, you know, nothing gets uploaded before, you know, it's had a chance to make its round in the Harbor Commission.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cal. Are we ready to move on to agenda item 10? Scheduling of strategic planning session to discuss management agreement?
Sure.
Glenn?
The facilitator has indicated that he is available during the week, during the mornings. His preference was Thursday mornings, and the one that we were looking at in June was Thursday, June 26th in the morning, probably either 8 to noon or 9 to 1 or something like that. The time we haven't figured out yet, or exactly where or the agenda, but I think if we can get an agreement on that date, then we can nail that down with him.
Is there anything getting in the way of a 26th June? Any other distraction?
On my end,
Aware of.
that I'm
Then let's-
aware of anyway.
Why not?
All the marathons and, well, swim won't be over, but the 2 marathons will be
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Just gearing up for the 4th.
So a Thursday morning on the 26th, that's open?
June 26th.
Yeah, June 26th, yeah.
As long as there's a coffee maker.
And that's kind of the earliest date that he's available?
Yeah.
Okay.
30 cup.
It works for me.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a morning, and it would go roughly when to when?
Well, that's still to be determined by us, but I think probably either, the idea is 4 hours, 8 till noon, or
Yeah, I
maybe
got
1 to 1.
Yep.
And, whether or not there's any food or whatnot to be determined.
Good.
Yeah.
And you'll make the arrangements, Glenn, obviously?
Yeah, I'll deal with Kevin.
Thank you, this is good.
We just motion that so that it's.
Yeah,
It's
it
just-
should be posted. It should also be posted that it'll be, other than when we call the meeting to order and we adjourn, it'll likely all be closed session.
It's only scheduling. Do you think we really need a motion to schedule a meeting?
No.
Okay. Either. Approval of bills is next.
Sorry.
We've got Cooper Engineering in the amount of $39,810 and April 18th payroll reimbursement for Miffle in the amount of $61,275.20 for a grand total of $101,085.20. And I will move that we pay the bills as presented.
Got a second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Future agenda items. I think let's revisit the strategic planning session. We can arrange details.
And the signing of the
Lease.
lease.
Lease, yep.
Well, we've approved it. You can just sign it now, whenever,
Oh, we don't have to have it.
have it.
Yeah,
Whenever they agree, you can sign it again with Glenn, and
yep.
we've already made the motion to renew.
Good point. But we can work out the details for this planning session.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on an agenda?
Not that I can think of.
No, nothing's coming to mind for me.
I'll put on there the Harbor Commission or Harbor Assistance Program update.
Yeah.
So are we looking at 2 weeks from today in the morning again?
The next one, yes.
Okay.
What's that date?
That would be May 15th.
We're gonna, we have a potential date after the 12th, Glenn, Katie and I meeting up for updating the tariffs.
Yeah, let's make sure that carries over.
Yeah, after the 12th, because that's when Glenn is
Well,
back.
that's a,
And then, I don't know,
Updating tariff, meaning it has to get sent back into.
yes, because.
At least reviewed and And determination made whether it needs to be or not.
Because the information given us was incorrect of the fact that we can charge less than what the tariff rate is. In the tariff, it has to be clear that we have to charge what that tariff
Posted
rate
rate
is.
is.
Yep.
It's anything different. We thought that if it was less, we wouldn't have to pay.
No.
Okay,
And then also maybe add into the agenda items, approval of an updated budget.
Hmm.
Amending the budget.
Good idea.
so at 9 AM, 5:15 then?
5:15.
For me, if it works for everyone else.
I
Let's,
will likely be zooming it in. That works.
let's go into public comment B. Take it away, Paul.
First, I want to thank you for having this meeting at a more opportune time for the public. Thanks for showing up at your new faith, but it's always good. Second, when it comes to the review of the trek and trail lease, you're only going up 3%. I hope you remember that the boat tariffs, or as you call them, tariffs, went up more than 3%. So you might want to look at something a little more. I mean, you have a debt to pay off here.
Thanks, Paul. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, just asking, like, maybe in the fall, there could be an open type forum for the Harbor Commission in the evening for the public to come in, just ask questions, how are things going? What have you learned from the first year of earning a ferry, you know, maybe public input? That's all, you know, just, I mean, the public gave you permission to buy, purchase and run. I think we need a say in what we've seen over the first year.
Noted. Go ahead.
Just a quick comment, Zach. Maybe it'd be possible to post meetings more than like 26 hours before having them. I know typically you guys post them, they're required 24 hours, but it seems like it's always the day before. Can you try doing it a couple days ahead so people have a chance to find it? I mean, I look on the website and I hardly ever see it posted on the website. You know, for zoning, we try to get ours in by Friday, leading up to our meeting the following Wednesday, so you know, it's a good 4 or 5 days. Just a thought.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right, let's move into agenda item 15, review of the Miffle management contract.
I will make a motion to go into closed session under state statute 19.851E, liberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. If the commission goes into closed session, it will convene in open session before adjourning.
I'll second. Roll call vote, Mary Ross,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Evan Erickson, Michael,
Aye.
I'm an aye, Jay,
Aye.
Glenn,
Aye.
right, and
It's a significant hole your dad's got in the back of his pants.